Why, hello, all of you fine, sexy people in internet land. It is Brian with Manabeast here. I am at battle stations, but you'll notice the background is a bit changed. Normally I have a really cool poster of Snake drawn by Yoji Shinkawa, who, let's just admit, one of the most awesome illustrators of all time, okay? Usually you see that in the background. Usually there's a TV in the background. Well, right now, that room's back over there. You can't see me pointing until here. It's back over there. And they've converted the whole thing into this really awesome, like, adult gaming room. Normally it was a party room, and now it's an adult gaming room. And by adult, yes, they just constantly stream bad things in there. So, yeah, they've converted that room. So now I'm out here with this really awesome TV in the background, so you'll have to forgive me that I'm not back there like normally. But today, besides all that, I wanted to do a little update video here about the Air Capital Clash. Now, I know it's been a few weeks ago, and so it kind of loses meaning in the meta because, well, that was set 5. We only allowed set 5 because set 6 had literally just come out. So I'm not really going to talk so much about the meta and how things develop because a lot of it, well, most of it is not as useful, but I wanted to talk about the experience in general. First and foremost, I have to really give a big shout out to Battle Stations Gaming. Steve and Adam in particular believed in what I was doing. I was working with them for months on end to try to get something going. So first and foremost, it really couldn't happen without them. They had buy-in from us. They decided to go ahead and run it, even though I remember the week before, they wanted to at least have, I think, close to 20 to 25 pre-orders or pre-registrations, and they didn't get it. And so for them, you know, that's a good amount of change to just invest in a case of Dragon Ball Z. And I remember talking to them and I said, hey, look, you know, a lot of times people don't pre-register for events. Can you guys just front it? You know, I've got a lot of people who say they're gonna be here. Can you guys just, you know, give us a chance? And they're like, okay, you know, I'll give you a chance. There's Steve over there. He's over here. That's the guy who gave me a chance. You know, he was just like, whatever, dude. I was like, hey, man, they're going to come order the stuff. I promise. Can you just give me a case? He's like, bro, I got your hookup. I'll help you out, man. I'll get you your goodness. So, yeah, they just ordered a whole case for us. And then I also have to thank the rest of the community who actually came out because we had 22 people here. So a little under the 25, but like super close. And we had people from Nebraska. We had people from Kansas City. We had people actually come up from Texas. We had 3 people come up from Texas all the way to come to this tournament here in Kansas. I mean, that's like a 7 to 8, maybe 9-hour drive at worst to come up just to play some Dragon Ball Z in the little tournament here we hosted, which was kind of cool. And that's Steve leaving right now. Bye, Steve. I love that guy. He's pretty awesome. So that was really big. Like, I was so excited that people came. This was really the first event that I had hosted or done anything. I mean, I had been at events or I had helped with events, like Brad with Midwest Madness. I had helped do some things with it, but I hadn't actually actively created one of these. And so the day happened, everybody signed up. It took us a little longer to get things started, but I was myself personally happy with how it turned out. There was no really major incidences. I think everything went fairly smooth, at least in my opinion. So all in all, like, the start of it was great. I did end up participating in the tournament because we had 21, so me, 22, it was an uneven number. There were some people who were going to come but had car problems. Trevor Cox, my fellow Red Ruthless Turtles player, I was so sad not to see you here. Like, I wanted you to be here, but you know, I represented for Turtles. I did end up running Red Ruthless Turtles that day. Which I decided to do something a little bit more fun. You know, I didn't want to do like the normal average stuff. I could have ran my Ginyu, I could have ran a couple other decks, but I was like, you know what? I'm just another body in this tournament. Let's just have fun. So let me just talk a little bit about my experience in the tournament and who I went against. And I'll start with a bang, which was the first round, the very first round of the tournament. So very first round, I sit down and I sit next to this guy across from him. His name is Blade. And I've never met this guy, never talked to him. Ended up finding out he was one of the guys from Texas. So we're just talking and whatever, and I see him get his deck out, and it's red Enraged Roshi. I have faced a lot of Roshi decks. I faced black, I faced red, And in fact, for me, the red matchup is the more favorable one, because I mean, the whole crit thing is cool and they gain anger, but with the way I built turtles, you know, I bring in sidekicks, you know, to de-level them. My actual mechanic of my mastery lowers anger every time I hit you with it. So even with this whole prevention thing, I'm still able to lower his anger. And what I had seen of the Red Roshi builds, most of the time they're really running the kind of stall, stagnant control game, a lot of what was seen and popularized on retro boards with like Scott Dashy and a few others. So the red matchup for me is extremely easy. You know, I continually have to go into combat. I can't let them gain advantage. Even hands that really aren't the best for me, I just go into combat over and over and over. And that's what I did. Well, his deck was a lot different, in fact, because, you know, normally the Roshi strategy is don't go into combat, throw down setups, get your red destinies, get out your relaxations, get out your Roshi slumber, and just set up this huge board, pass turn after turn, and then just punish your opponent for going into combats because you've got cards like Red Retreat, which stops combat and ends it, get your drills out. You've got a lot of anti-aggro cards in there to kind of help with the matchup, Red Destiny, Red Blaze. His deck did not do that. In fact, I remember sitting down and we start going in, and turn 1 and 2, he's not only going into combat on me, but when I go into combat against him, he is more defensive than I thought he would be. Because Roshi is defensive naturally, but a lot of Roshi players will supplement guards with just the natural ability that Roshi has to prevent damage by throwing out a setup. Either way, either I went to combat on him or he went to combat to me, he didn't care. And again, a lot of times he would initiate on me and I'm going, this is really weird. I went into one combat with him and I'm throwing physicals at him and he has 2 of the red catch in his hand that raises anger 2 and gains him 2 stages. So within one combat, within 2 actions, I try to attack him. He gains 4 anger. And of course gains another anger from another crit, another effect, and goes up a level. Within 5 combats, I think 5 combats, he MPPVs out. I mean, it was insanely fast. Like I didn't see it coming. He just anger rushed me down. I couldn't keep anything on him. I couldn't get him down in levels. You know, I tried to use sidekick. I think I may have gotten 1 off, maybe. I don't know. But even at that, I couldn't stop him. I mean, his anger gain was nuts, and he was running cards like Red City Destruction and like some really cool tech choices that just absolutely made his deck go off and won. And I'm complete credit to him. His deck won the day against probably what should have been his worst matchup, and he played it expertly. So first round was a loss, and it was kind of like, okay, you know, it is what it is. Let's go into the next round. Other matches that were big highlights for me. Really, I'm just mainly going to talk about the top 8. I didn't end up getting into top 8. Went through all the rounds, made the cut into top 8, which was exciting. It was weird winning one of my own mats that I created, so you know that's cool. But going to top 8, and the first matchup I go against was one of the other guys who came from Texas, John O'Keefe, and he was running a Roshi deck. We go into combat, and he's running Red Roshi as well, actually. So I was kind of prepared for what he had. His deck was a little bit different than what I'd seen from Blade. The match between him and I was decently back and forth, although his advantage was still ahead of mine. He was still gaining levels. He had the Dragon Ball control. He never really lost control of the game at any point. I did have some good key combats where I got some damage, but there was never a point where I really felt like he was out of control. However, there was one key combat, and I'm going to talk about this card, and I've talked about it before. Red Combined Blast. People who are running red, if you're running red, run this card. Run this card. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with it. Some people may not see the value in it. But let me tell you the value in this card. So, number 1, it's Endurance 3. Endurance 3 off the bat is amazing, okay? Gets off the top of your discard pile. It's going to absorb 4 life cards of damage. Automatically great. Now the stage cost is pretty great. It's going to cost you a decent amount of stages to throw out there, okay? However, the effect of it is amazing, even beyond just the 6 life cards it does, which is a pretty decent attack. It is 3 stages for 6. you are going to get to raise your anger by 1. So either an enraged, if you're going for an anger rush, or ruthless, if you're using anger as a resource with things like embarrassing drill, it's still great. The other bonus, you can lower your anger by 3. If you lower your anger by 3, your opponent cannot play events for the rest of combat. Let me tell you how this helped me out. So I'm going up against John O'Keefe. He draws his, stops, doesn't go into combat, then I draw mine. Now, I'm not sure I remember exactly how this went down. It's a little fuzzy, it's a few weeks ago. But I do remember either that turn or at some point he had gotten a Time as a Warrior's tool in his hand. He may have visited the pass for it, and I actually think I have it on camera. I'll have to revisit it. But either way, he got himself a Time as a Warrior's tool in his hand. I enter his combat, he draws his 3. After he draws his 3, I decide to go ahead, pay the 3 stages, drop down 3 anger, and then after I drop down, I say, hey, you can't play events. In his hand, I find out, is not only Time as a Warrior's tool, but 2 red stops. Now, I also had in my hand at that point a red Tandem Blast, which is the one that doesn't allow your opponent to play non-styled cards. So I actually had the choice at that point whether I wanted to do red Tandem Blast or whether I wanted to do red Combined Blast. Now, it's a little bit different in how it works, and to me, I thought, well, with what he's got, his non-styled cards aren't really that great. Besides, doing Roshi Slumber or something like that, I thought I really need to stop him from playing events. So I chose to go that way, and it saved. I mean, it won me the game. He had no blocks. Had I used the other one, he couldn't have used time, but he had 2 red stops. And I ended up just beating him down perfectly to the right amount of life cards and put him into a ball loop, and that was it. So I'll say it again, and you might not believe it, but I have it in 2, as a 2 of, in most, if not all of my red decks. Red Combined Blast. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. Stops the event game, and you would be surprised at what it lays down. And of course, with new stuff that Look Unleashed, completes to stop it. So, got to run that card. So I won that game just by the fact that I had that card. Had I not had that card, I imagine he would have gained more advantage in PPV'd out or Dragon Ball Victory. So I wish I could take that victory and be like, yeah, I'm the man, I'm the best. But I had the right card at the right time and won it out. So got done with that, then went into top 4. Top 4, I'm against local player and a good friend of mine, Kevin Bach, and it is his black Roshi, and I'm like, great, another Roshi. Except black Roshi terrifies me even more because you got black defensive burst, you've got options to tear my deck apart, you can pull out double strikes, you can pull out shattering leaps, and you completely dismantle me so that in the mid to late game, I really have no teeth to go against you. Same kind of thing, and by the way, I will be uploading these matches later so you all can watch them. But we go into combat, 1 key combat, and I have red Combined Blast, red Tandem Blast in my hand. So I throw down red Tandem Blast. I pay the cost. He can't play non-style cards as combat. In his hand, he has Roshi's Backstrike. So I do the 4 life cards. His plan originally was to use Backstrike to fish out a Time as a Warrior's tool, which would have completely shut me down. I wouldn't have been able to stop his advantage. And played Tandem Blast, paid the cost. That card won me the game. Again, Kevin is one of those players that I would say, as far as skill and experience in the Dragon Ball Z card game, his is above mine. He's played much longer than me, especially in score. His deck theories are on point. So, and he and I both agreed. Like, he and I legitimately agreed. Red Tandem Blast won the game. I didn't win the game. Turtles didn't win the game. Red Ruthless didn't win the game. Red Tandem Blast won the game, and the rest of it just wrote itself. So I'll continue with my report, but I have to say, Red Tandem Blast and Red Combined Blast. Look them up, read them, run them, okay? Run them. They are that legitimately good. So, I mean, barely went out into top 4, and then I get to the finals, top 2, and I go against another fellow local player, Trey, who runs a orange Android 20. And of all the games, I thought I had that game, but I'm telling you, he set up some good control options. I made a few mistakes in some of my plays. We did go to the 3rd round, which was good. I didn't completely, smeared. But in the end, it was just like a key orange destruction. I couldn't keep his drill game off. He was Even though, you know, he was really blocking energies and that's all he could do. My physicals, I couldn't keep him down. I couldn't maintain advantage like I wanted to. I used a couple red tandem blasts, which saved me like from like a sinister choke or his name card, but like they didn't have the blow up effect that they did in Kevin and John's game before. And he just won it out, man, and I completely respect him. Guy did a great job. Ran a deck that was a disadvantage to mine and still came out on top. So I hit second, you know, and I was happy with it. I was really happy with my performance. I was really happy with how the day went, and from what I heard, people were really excited about it. Man, I was so happy. Everybody loved the mats. Like I was really happy. Everybody liked the mats. I mean, that was my main thing, and it was just like a really good time all around. So yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it, and we are definitely going to be doing it again. I don't know when. It'll more than likely be once OP is over, or once we get a break. But again, I want to say a big thank you to Battle Stations Gaming for allowing us to host it, and then of course for all the people coming out, because you know it really is true. This doesn't run without you guys. Like we can't do it. Manabeast can't do it. None of the other YouTube channels, Panini, whoever you go to, they can't do it without you guys. And I'm just saying, get your hot dogs now. If you need hot dogs, I don't have them right now, but you should just get some right now. Like, pause the video and go get you some hot dogs. Sorry, I'm just seeing this on my screen. I was like, that's rather random. Hot dogs, okay. So anyway, that was the report from the Air Capital Clash. Like I said, definitely doing it again. And I'll be posting up videos here in a little bit with all the matches, and you can see what happened. All right, as always, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share the goodness with your friends, because we are like the Church of Scientology, only less creepy, less weird, less John Travolta, and, well, we don't have really odd ways of thinking. Well, no, pardon me, we do have odd ways of thinking. So we're very similar in that way, because we're just weird. All right, see y'all later.